Hi guys, it's Emily, and today I'm here to bring you a recent reads video. I know it's been a hot minute since I filmed anything, but I figured I'd show you what I've been reading for March Mystery Madness this year. Now you may remember that normally I help host March Mystery Madness, but this year, since it had been so long since I filmed anything, I declined to host, so I'm just a regular participant this year. The theme for this year is 2x2, which is because of, it being 2022. And so I decided to take that to mean double letters in either the title or the author's name of the books I'm reading. And it turned out to be really easy. All of these books were already on my want to read list. I didn't have to search any of these out. So I've read 3 books so far, and I'm for March Mystery Madness, and I'm in the middle of the 4th, so I thought I would briefly run through these books. The first book that I read for March Mystery Madness, I actually read the last week of February, which is pretty par for the course for me. I usually get really excited once the announcement videos start coming out, and I pick up at least one mystery every year in February. So this year, my February mystery was Mimi Lee Gets a Clue by Jennifer J. Chow. And this is following a dog groomer named Mimi Lee. She's not a dog groomer. She grooms any kind of pets, but it's mostly dogs. And she starts seeing a bunch of dogs that all have a problem with their leg. And she discovers that they all came from the same breeder. And so she decides to go confront the breeder about the fact that he's been breeding dogs with these issues with their legs. So she has a big argument with the breeder, and the next day the breeder is found dead. And one of the neighbors had seen her there, and so she is now the number 1 suspect, and of course she wants to clear her name. So she goes on a quest to figure out who done it. So this one was okay. It was only 2 stars for me. I didn't find it very realistic, and also there's a really incompetent police officer in this book where, he's only focused on Mimi, and he, totally ignores all the other evidence, which is, stupid, because a real cop will, both cops are going to be looking at every possible lead. And then also, she's got a boyfriend in here that's a lawyer, and at the very start of the book, she meets this guy. They start dating. He helps her with the legal aspects of her case. But then there's all this fake drama with the boyfriend. Again, they just met, so it's not a serious thing at all. Yet they are acting like it's a super serious thing. And I don't know, it just bugged me the way the relationship was portrayed in this. So this was fair, but nothing to write home about. So obviously this had the double letter in the Lee, and also I guess Mimi could be considered a double part of the title as well. I then read Things in Jars by Jess Kidd, and this is about a woman named Bridie, or maybe Bridie, who is investigating the disappearance of a wealthy man's daughter who has some kind of special powers, and we don't really know what those powers are at the beginning of the book. And Bridie is sort of going underground in London into this skeevy, magical being trading world where collectors try to collect magical beings. And so this is a magical realism book. It's got mermaids, and it's got weird creatures / humans in it. And so Bridie is investigating this, and it also jumps back and forth in time and shows us Bridie's childhood. She was very interested in medical things and worked as a body snatcher for a while in her childhood. And so we see her history. We see how her history impacts this current day case of the missing girl that's also got these magical powers, and we see what happens. And of course this is set in Victorian London, maybe. I forgot what time in history it's set, but it's set in historical time, so it's a historical mystery. And it's a really interesting book. I really enjoyed it. I don't think I've ever read a mystery that was also historical, that also had like magical realism in it. It was kind of like all over the place in terms of genre, but I really enjoyed this. I heard about this from Olive at a book Olive, I believe, and I'm sure there's other people that have read it too, but Olive was the one that I initially heard about it from, and I really enjoyed this, and I would definitely recommend it. And it was very immersive, and I thought Brady was a really interesting character. And one thing I should mention is that there's a ghost character in this book, and it's a really interesting relationship between Brady and the ghost as well. So yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I would definitely recommend it. Finally, I recently read Don't Look for Me by Wendy Walker. And this is actually kind of interesting for me because this is the first book I've ever read based on Books and Lala's recommendation. Like, I love Books and Lala's blogs, and I watch all of her blogs, but she and I have such different reading tastes that I like never cared about like what she's actually reading. I just like her style. But she actually read this in December of last year, and like the way she described it made me so interested in it that I put it on my TBR, and here it is. I read it. So this says, obviously it's got the double OO in look for Don't Look For Me. So this is about a woman named, what's her name? Molly. This is about a woman named Molly, and one night she is driving home from her son's football game, and her car runs out of gas, and it's raining really hard. So this man picks her up in her truck, and she quickly discovers that this man is a very bad man, and he basically imprisons her in his house. And so it's about her imprisonment, and then it also jumps forward in time, and 2 weeks in time, and is following her daughter Nicole, who is searching for her mom. And so it follows these two women. It follows Molly in her imprisonment, and it follows Nicole when she's searching for Molly. And so we see what happened in Nicole's childhood. We see how their relationship has sort of grown apart over the years due to something that happened when Nicole was a teenager. We see what happens to Molly in terms of like the person that is keeping her in prison, and the person also has a child named Alice, and we see Alice and Molly's relationship and sort of the weird thing the weird way it sort of becomes like a loving relationship, but not really, because of course it's not really a good situation. And so it's just following both of these women. We see what happens to Molly, what happens to Nicole, and we see their history. So again, it's a really interesting book. I really enjoyed this. I will say this is very creepy, just because the dude in it, like the kidnapper, is really creepy. And also the premise of being kidnapped when it's raining and your car broke down is like something that could really happen. So it's like really creepy. I would not recommend reading this at night because it just like kind of creeps me out in a lot of ways. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was great, and I would definitely recommend it if you are into thrillers. And clearly, I need to take more recommendations from Books and Lala. Currently, I am reading Long Bright River by Liz Moore. And this is a book that I heard about from Heidi over at My Reading Life, and I think other people have read it, but she's the one that made me put it on my want-to-read list. And this is a really good book. So I actually started this on Thursday night, and here it's Saturday, and look, I'm almost done. Like, I could probably finish this today if I wanted to. And this is a 482-page book, but it's a really good book. This is following a police officer named, what's her name? Mickey. And she has a sister named Casey. And Casey is an addict. And Casey lives on the streets. And so it's about Mickey is sort of, living her life, raising her son, but she's also always kind of looking out for her sister, Casey. And at the beginning of the book, Casey has gone missing. Mickey hasn't seen her in a while, and so she starts sort of investigating on her own where Casey might be. And there's also been a string of murders in the area that Mickey patrols, and so Mickey is concerned that Casey might have been murdered by whoever is doing this, and so she's trying to figure out who done it and where Casey is. And we also go back and forth in time between the present day and also Casey and Mickey's childhood, and we see their relationships when they were young. We see how Casey's addiction, begins. We see how the relationship grows after the birth of Mickey's son, or not grows, but like how it changes after the birth of Mickey's son, and we sort of are getting closer to the present day and seeing what happened to Casey. And we also see Mickey's relationship with her son's father, Simon, and how that started and played out, and how it affects Mickey's life and Thomas's life, her son's, in the present day. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I'm really enjoying this, and what is interesting is it's like a mystery to find out where Casey's is and whether she's been murdered. But it's also really telling you the story of addiction and how addiction impacts families. And it's really, really good. It takes place in Philadelphia, particularly in the Kensington neighborhood of Philadelphia, which is where Mickey patrols and where Casey, is or was before she went missing. And yeah, I'm really, really enjoying this. And I definitely recommend this as well. And I can definitely see why it's such a favorite with everybody. So that's what I've been reading lately and what I am currently reading. I have 2 more books on my, well, I guess technically 3 more books on my TBR for March Mystery Madness. I have 2 mysteries and then 1 true crime nonfiction book. The 2 mysteries are The Appeal by Janice Hallett and then A Fatal Grace by Louise Penny. And then the nonfiction book doesn't meet the double letters rule. It's just something I wanted to read. So anyway, I'm really enjoying March Mystery Madness. It's been kind of interesting this year, being a participant instead of a host. I shared my TBR on Instagram, and I've been participating a little bit on the Goodreads and on the Discord. But yeah, I'm really enjoying my reading this month. I hope everybody else is enjoying their mystery reading this month if you're doing some. And I'll talk to you again soon, hopefully. Bye!